Hi people, Night Voice here again. I'll talk tonight about free world trade. What's it mean? What's it do for the people that live in any countries throughout the world? Free world trade means that we can trade with the rest of the world. It also means that any company can go to a third world country and get their products manufactured there and sent back to wherever they operate in. It may be good for the companies because they can get the stuff made in third world countries that use basically slave labour and get products manufactured for where these people are getting $5 a day or $2 a day or whatever. Bring them back into, we'll take for instance this country, Australia, bring them back into Australia, mark them up probably 5,000% and make an absolute fortune. Like I mentioned before in videos, most of our manufacturing has died off here in Australia because of that fact. Unemployment, more and more people are getting laid off. This is just another worldwide another ploy to bring us all down, to create unemployment, to create social unrest. You know, I've been on about housing affordability, our education, our police force. Why do you think the government haven't got enough money to pump into our hospitals, our education system, our police force, and anything else they need money for? The simple fact is that the jobs, or a lot of jobs, have gone to third world countries. So that means less people are employed in Australia. That's less taxes that people pay. These companies are making an absolute fortune by marking the stuff up, whatever. Admittedly, they still pay taxes, but they would probably be paying more taxes in Australia if they had to manufacture the stuff here. They weren't allowed to bring it in, or if they did bring it in, it had to be well, the government should put a huge taxes on it for anybody that actually brings stuff in that can't be manufactured here. That's part of the reason why the country's broke. But it's all planned. Doesn't matter whether you're in Australia, whether you're in Britain, or any other English-speaking country. Doesn't matter whether it's English-speaking or whatever language you speak. It's all the same, basically, all over the world. It's been allowed to happen, and all it is just to bring the people down and keep them broke, homeless, create civil unrest. I mean, you have to answer one big question. I mentioned in the video a couple of weeks ago or last week about the gun law here in Australia. They made us hand up all our weapons. It's very hard to get a licence for a weapon now. You have to answer the big question, why was that brought in to play? Was it because they were worried about people going around shooting each other? I don't think so. I think it has something to do with the people that want this country to become a republic, so they can dictate to us even more than they do now. They made us hand all the weapons in because if we do become a republic, and people are still probably pushing for it, that they're probably worried that if we have a dictator and he starts trying to tighten up everything, that if we had weapons, we may go around and start shooting people, or may go around and start shooting them. So I think if you look at the big picture, that is quite possibly why they made us hand all our weapons in. This Port Arthur thing, anybody could have done that. It could happen anywhere. Doesn't matter. I'm a great believer in that everybody should have the right to have a weapon and to protect themselves. Someone breaking into your house, shoot the bastards. Right? The case of Port Arthur, if the owner of that delicatessen, he'd already shot people out in the street, but by the time he got into that delicatessen or restaurant or whatever it was, if the guy had had a weapon under the counter, he could have blown him away. He might have shot a few people, but not as many as he did. Right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm a firm believer in everybody should have the right to have a weapon so that you can protect yourself. The government has taken that right away from us. And I believe it's all to do with this one world power, this one world government, and we're only 22 million people, so this is a good country to start in. I mean, you've only got to look how what is happening around the world is happening here in our country on a smaller scale, because we're only, like I said, we're only 22 million people, but it is happening. You can see it. If you look at news reports, I'm talking about the internet. Get on the internet, punch up YouTube, and just the US economy or UK economy or whatever, and just watch the videos about what people are saying. And these aren't just people like me who rant and rave. These are educated professional people that are saying what is wrong with the economy, what they're doing, what they're not doing, and all this. And that's the way you get some sort of insight into what is actually happening. But here in this country, that's what I believe they were really concerned about. Disarm us, so that if anything does ever happen, we haven't got the opportunity to go and, shoot the bastards. In America, it's really hard because they've had the gun laws for years. I mean, anybody can go and get a weapon. Some of them have got arsenals in their sheds, ammunition all over the place. Heaps harder to go and try and dictate to them. But, what they're trying to do now is they're just trying to, you've only got to look at the unemployment. I was watching a video this morning on an up-to-date about the American economy, and they're talking about real figures of unemployment. The government put out about 10% or something. The real figures are 22%. 22% unemployed. And a lot of those people have lost their benefits because they only go for a certain amount of time. You imagine in this country here, you're married, you've got 2 or 3 kids. You lose your job, you go on unemployment benefits. You struggle if you're paying off your house. Come a time you won't be able to pay your mortgage. Trying to feed your kids. If your dole payment's stopped after a certain amount of time, what are you going to do? Can't find a job. You got no money coming in. How are you supposed to feed your kids? Live somewhere? And this is what's happening in America now, today, right now. I can see mass civil unrest in America very, very shortly. It's going to have to, it'll happen because, like I said, people are in dire straits. They have no money, no prospects of a job, kids to feed, You know, wives cracking up, what are we going to do? What are we going to, panicking? They're going to start robbing apartment store or food chains and whatever just to survive, just to feed their kids. And that could happen here in this country. No worries in the world. The problem is, every government in the world are in the same boat. You know, there's good people in the government, don't get me wrong. There's good people in the government. There are also some shonky bastards. Wankers. The problem is, these power people have got the governments under their thumb. You know, you want to try and fix it? I tell you what, in this country here, there'd be people we could fix the problem in this country tomorrow. Not a worry. But the person who stood up and said, right, this is what we're going to do, would probably wake up dead or go missing. That's what happens. And it's all to do with this one world power, their agenda they've got. Just take everybody down, 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 down. Screw the shit out of us. Something serious has to happen, because it can't just keep going. You know, if you've got a job, okay, and you're working, you're making money, and you're paying your bills, and life's cruisy. You know, we're in fantasy land at the moment here in Australia. The people that haven't got a job and are on unemployment and are just down and out because there's nothing, right? They're probably in the real world. The rest of us that are, trundling along, going to the casino or whatever you do, go and get pissed every night or whatever. Like I said, we're in fantasy land. When reality hits, it's going to hit bloody hard. Night, boys. Catch you later.